This is SN Studios. Tonight we peel back the curtain on Britain's criminal underworld. From the burning streets of Bradford to the high-security gates of Heathrow. From Spanish hideouts to encrypted digital networks that once felt untouchable. These are not just the headlines. These are the real-life stories of revenge, betrayal, and the long arm of justice. Stay with us, because by the time we're done, you'll see just how far criminals will go to hold on to power, and how far the law will go to take it away. Our first story begins in Bradford, a city with a proud history, but also a long and troubled relationship with violent crime. It's the evening of August 26th last year. Harbour Crescent in Wibsey is quiet, until a black Range Rover slowly rolls down the street. Inside, a man the courts would later describe as a violent criminal, deeply entrenched in lawlessness. 33-year-old Jacob Gallagher, known to friends and enemies alike as Jake. Jake Gallagher wasn't just a petty thug. He was feared. He was respected in certain circles, and this night, he was armed. Just 4 days earlier, Gallagher had been released from prison. 4 days. Yet already prosecutors say he was plotting a targeted revenge attack. The reason? We still don't know. The victim, perhaps out of fear, perhaps out of loyalty, refused to say. Gallagher, he kept his mouth shut. The victim had just pulled up outside his home in his Audi. Gallagher and his younger cousin, 22-year-old Joseph John Pouch, had been tailing him. They drove past, circled back, and from a distance of just 3 to 6 meters, Gallagher opened fire. 2 shots hit their mark, one just beneath the armpit, the other low in the ribs. The man stumbled towards his door, leaving a trail of blood across the driveway. Jake Gallagher sped away. That Range Rover, hired the previous day for £1,500, under a false name. Within 24 hours, it was found burned out on Queen's Road. A classic criminal tactic to destroy forensic evidence. But police were already closing in. 2 days later, Gallagher was stopped on the A64 near Scarborough, carrying his passport. His hands were wrapped in bandages, his arms blistered from burns. Officers believe he was trying to flee the country. In court, Judge Jonathan Rose didn't hold back. He called Gallagher a violent man capable of using significant amounts of violence, with a risk of serious injury or worse. He pointed to Gallagher's extensive criminal history: assaults, shootings, gang feuds. This wasn't his first time pulling a trigger, and it wasn't the first time someone had pulled one on him. Back in 2012, Jake Gallagher made headlines after knocking out notorious Bradford mobster Meggy Khan outside a bar. Days later, he was hunted by a gunman and shot in both legs in what police called a punishment-style attack. Then in 2015, he was jailed for 9 years for a serious assault. But prison didn't seem to cool him down. If anything, it gave him time to plan. This time, Gallagher pleaded guilty to possessing a firearm with intent to endanger life and to arson. His sentence? 18 years and 8 months in prison, plus 5 years on license. Meaning if he reoffends after release, he'll go straight back inside. His cousin Putch, described as enthralled by his older relative, claimed he didn't know Gallagher was going to shoot the victim. The judge believed he played only a passive role, but that was still enough for a 32-month sentence. Our second story moves beyond Bradford, to Salford, to a man whose reach extended across borders, across oceans, all the way to the streets of Spain. Jamie Rothwell, 38 years old, wasn't just another drug dealer. He was the leader of a sprawling criminal empire, one worth tens of millions of pounds. His name became even more infamous after featuring in the Channel 4 documentary Operation Dark Phone, Murder by Text. In April 2020, the unthinkable happened. EncroChat, an encrypted phone network trusted by thousands of criminals, was hacked by international law enforcement. Suddenly, detectives could read every message, every order, every threat in real time. For Rothwell, it was the beginning of the end. From Spain, he was still directing the importation of cocaine, ketamine, and heroin, worth £26 million. He was moving criminal cash, organising hits, and even arranging the trafficking of AK-47 assault rifles. The messages told a chilling story. Conversations about firearms weren't abstract. They included the specifics of sourcing, shipping, and using them. Some messages detailed plots to cause grievous bodily harm, others outright plans to murder rivals. It was enough to convict him on multiple counts: conspiracy to possess firearms and ammunition with intent to endanger life, conspiracy to supply Class A and B drugs, conspiracy to cause grievous bodily harm. The result? 43 years in prison, one of the longest sentences handed out under Operation Venetic, the UK's largest ever organised crime investigation. Alongside him, 9 other members of his network were jailed for a combined 163 years. The NCA says more than 2,200 criminals have now been convicted thanks to Venetic, with seizures of over £8,400,000 in cash, 175 firearms, and more than 8 tons of Class A drugs. For Rothwell, the encrypted phone that once felt like a shield became the evidence that destroyed him. December 2019, Heathrow Airport, one of the busiest travel hubs in the world. A man named Junid Dar worked here as an airport security manager, trusted, respected. But behind the uniform, he was plotting a daring smuggling operation. Dar teamed up with 2 men, Ruford Davis and David Farquharson. Their couriers, Michael Williams and Jessica Waldron, would fly from Bogota, Colombia, carrying 22 kilograms of cocaine hidden in their luggage. Street value, £2 million. The plan: land at Terminal 2B, meet Dar in full uniform, bypass all checks, and walk straight out. But Colombian police were already onto them. The drugs were swapped for blocks of wood. The couriers were walking into a trap. On December 14th, Dar arrived 3 hours before his shift, collected an airport vehicle, and met the couriers. He took their bags to the toilets, but before he could leave, National Crime Agency officers swarmed in. Dar, arrested on the spot. Williams and Waldron, taken down moments later. Davis and Farquharson, arrested soon after. The verdict: Dar, 16.5 years. Davis and Farquharson, 14.5 years each. The couriers already serving 6 years and 8 months each. A plot they thought was foolproof. Undone before the plane even touched down. Our final story returns to Rothwell's empire, to one of his most trusted associates, 50-year-old Craig Mackinson. On the surface, Mackinson lived well. Expensive cars, luxury holidays to Dubai and Thailand, a £500,000 home with its own swimming pool, but all of it paid for in blood money. Mackinson was dealing cocaine, heroin, and amphetamines, worth over £2.5 million. He helped finance the purchase of an AK-47 machine gun. EncroChat messages revealed his true nature, including one chilling threat to a debtor. If you have not dropped some money off to me by 5 p.m. tonight, I'm going to acid your face off in your front garden. Choice is yours. He wasn't working alone. Associates like Zach Rourke acted as go-betweens. James Close sourced weapons and learned how to adulterate drugs for profit. Callum Morris even agreed to carry out a murder, though his target was never attacked. In court, Judge John Potter branded Mackinson a violent and dangerous criminal. His sentence: 38 years in prison. These are the stories that remind us Crime can be calculated, organised and global. But so can justice, from drive-by shootings to multi-million-pound smuggling networks, from corrupt insiders to gangland leaders. This is SN Studios. Like, share and subscribe. And stay tuned for more true crime stories from the streets and beyond.